Hello, fight fans. Seattle Mike of MMA with Friends. Everybody, please hit that like button if you like what I do here. Make sure you subscribe if you like everything fighting, boxing, UFC, Bellator, all that violence. And make sure that you ring that bell so you're notified whenever I drop a new video or go live, like for UFC 248 tomorrow. Yoel Romero versus Israel Adesanya. Woo! I'm going to go through the entire main card, all 5 fights. I'm going to tell you who I would pick in those fights, and as a betting man, who I would bet on those fights. I have one major lock. It's not a guaranteed bet. I'm not responsible for wins and losses, of course, but I have one fight that I spent the most time on in particular. And if I was going to bet on any fight, that would be the one. Let's go into the first fight of the main card. You got Alex Oliveira, the Cowboy, coming in at minus 150 favorite. Max Griffin, a plus 120. I actually think the odds here should be a little wider for the Cowboy, Alex Oliveira. I think Griffin's going to struggle with him on the feet. I think Oliveira's going to outstrike him. And if Griffin's able to get it to the ground or tries to take it to the ground, he's going to do even worse then. I think Alex Oliveira ends this one. I think he ends it late second round, early third round, or if it goes to a decision, a unanimous decision. I just don't think that Max Griffin has the skills to really compete with Oliveira on that one. My next fight up, Li Zhongli versus Neil Magny. Li Zhongli coming into this one a minus 182 favorite. Neil Magny a plus 145. And this was that lock pick that I was talking about. And I dove into this fight like I really like to do if I was going to bet on a fight. I ended up at Les Schwab's for over 2 hours while I had new brakes put on. So what I did for those 2 hours is I studied tape on Zhongli and Magny, like opponents, current fights, just did a whole lot of deep dive homework on these guys, and I'm going to be looking down for a second because I have quite a few detailed notes here. Let's start out with Neil Magny. He has an impressive resume. Of course, no stranger, I'm sure, to hardcore MMA fans. He's been fighting some of the best welterweights in history. He's got victories over Kelvin Gastelum and Hector Lombard. He's 1 year older than Lee at 32 years old, but he's got some mileage in the octagon. He's got a lot of fights. After a first-round knockout of Craig White in May of 2018, he was on the wrong end of a fourth-round knockout from Santiago Ponzinibbio later that year. He was never in that fight. Absolutely dominated by Ponzinibbio. Has not been back since. That was 16 months ago. We'll see if that time off is better or worse for Magny. Li Zhongli during that time has been very active and successful the last 2 years. He's won his last 3 fights coming into this. He's won 7 of 8. He's won 6 performance bonuses over those 8 fights. He throws sharp, straight punches, and he has great footwork. Now, Neil Magny has the power advantage in this. He has the power to knock out anybody in that division. He's going to be stronger in the clinch, and he's going to want to use his dirty boxing and vicious elbows. And that's where he's going to have. He's going to have a couple advantages. I think he's going to have the advantage of the strength in the clinch, but also a key to victory is to use his long jab. He has an 8.5-inch reach advantage coming into this fight, and Magny, he must use this to counter the speed and precision of his opponent, Lee. Lee is good at making his opponent miss. Sometimes he backs straight up without throwing counters to punish his opponents. That's something Neil Magny needs to look out for. In several fights, Li Zhongli, he's backed straight up, and he's been able to avoid his opponent, but they maybe only throw 1 or 2 punches. I would like to see how he dealt with somebody throwing 4, 5, 6 punches in a combination, especially somebody with an 8.5 reach advantage on him. Magny can't afford to miss a lot of these punches, though. He has to finish his combinations. Lee is going to have a huge speed advantage. His footwork is some of the best in the division. He's going to want to stay out of the clinch. He's going to want to keep Neil Magny off balance. Throw straight punches as he does well, and this kind of compensates a little bit for that reach advantage as well, too. Magny tends to loop his punches more. Jing Lee throws a lot more straight punches. So, in my mind, Santiago Ponzinibbio, he wrote the manual on how to beat Neil in his last fight. I think Lee should read that manual. Don't count Neil out, guys, but if I was going to bet on any fight on this card, I think Jing Lee is going to get this. I just think he's just too fast, he's too sharp, and I think Neil Magny has too many miles on him. I say Jing Lee by late stoppage or unanimous decision. Next fight on the main card, Beneil DeRusha coming in a -167 favorite against Drakkar Klose. Beneil DeRusha, he's got a lot of tools. Drakkar Klose, I mean, he's coming up. He's an up-and-coming prospect. Beneil DeRusha, I think he's just further up the line. He's higher ranked, and he's higher ranked for a reason. I think Beneil DeRusha has just got too many tools. And I think he wins it easily by unanimous decision. Co-main event of the evening here, guys. Weili Zhang, 177 favorite, the champion over the former champion, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, at a +145 underdog coming into this fight. She's not an underdog very often. Joanna, of course, she's got a ton of experience, not just in kickboxing, but in MMA. She's been the champion. She's been those 5 rounds many, many times in her career, and there for a while it looked like nobody was going to beat her until she came upon Rose Namajunas. Rose Namajunas, of course, hit her with that big shot, knocked her out in the first fight. They came back in a rematch, and Rose beat her pretty convincingly in the rematch as well. I think Weili Zhang, I think she's a faster, more powerful version of Rose. I think this is a bad matchup for Joanna. I think she's a bit chinny as she gets older. Not so much older, but she's got a lot of miles on her in the cage. A lot of experience, but a lot of miles. She's taken a lot of damage over the years, and Zhang, she's hungry. She's young, and as somebody mentioned in the comments on the poll for this fight, Joanna's been spending a lot of time on Instagram and different things outside of UFC. Weili Zhang seems to be just concentrating on fighting. I'm going to call it Weili Zhang, and if I had to pick a round and way of stoppage, I would say Zhang, second round knockout. And also my strongest parlay would be to parlay Jing Lee and Weili Zhang if I was going to parlay 2 fighters in this event, and that would get you a decent amount back. I think that's going to get you close to about 4-1. Let's go to the main event of the evening: Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. First, let's start out with the challenger, Yoel Romero. Of course, incredible wrestling that he never really uses. Incredible one-punch power. He's got 11 knockouts in his 13 wins. In decisions, he's been 2-3. Besides one knockout early in his career before he got to the UFC, very beginning of his MMA career, he has just 3 losses, 2 by decision to Robert Whittaker, and then the 1 by decision to Paulo Costa. Honestly, all of those very close and all of those arguable, especially the second Whittaker fight. and the Paulo Costa fight, which I had Romero winning both of those. So very good record, very experienced guy, and that early loss in his career as far as striking, I kind of consider that like I consider Israel Adesanya's loss in kickboxing, getting knocked out as champion, even though he had a great reign in kickboxing over there. But very, very close to undefeated. Yoel Romero's, he's a damn tough guy. And like Deontay Wilder says, the other guy has to be perfect for 36 minutes. I only have to be perfect for 1 second. Israel Adesanya has to be perfect for 25 minutes. Yoel Romero only has to be perfect for 1 second to land one of those crazy flying knees, right hooks. He's got the power to put Israel's lights out for sure. Israel Adesanya, years of kickboxing experience. He's had a great takedown defense. He's showed that in numerous fights with good wrestlers. Brad Tavares, Derek Brunson, especially Brunson. It was very impressive that Brunson wasn't even close to able to take him down. He actually out-grappled Brunson. Romero is a better wrestler. Whether he'll use that or not remains to be seen. Israel Adesanya, the faster, younger fighter. I think he's the more accurate striker. I think Romero is a large target. If Izzy doesn't get too cocky, if it ends up being mostly a stand-up fight, which I think it will be, I think Israel is going to be able to dictate the pace. Yoel Romero likes to pace himself. In the past, he's burned himself out because he has all that muscle. Everybody knows he's walking in there 220 pounds. Between 200 and 220 pounds on the day he actually fights after making 185, which he made the weight for this one, thank God. So it actually will be for the title, unlike his fight against Robert Whittaker. I got to take the younger, faster champion in this one, though. I know Yoel Romero has a great shot. I never count him out, but I'm going to say Izzy tires him out. He pushes that pace. I don't think Romero is going to be able to keep up with it. And I say Izzy by unanimous decision or even a late fight stoppage. Let me know what you guys think. Does anybody have any bets out there? Anybody have any money on any of these fights? I'm interested to see what you guys have going on. Like I said, my lock bets for this one are Lai Zhang Li versus Neil Magny. If I was going to make a parlay, it would be Zhang Ling and Weili Zhang. So actually the two Chinese fighters on this card, coincidentally. But let me know what your picks are. Let me know what your thoughts are on this card. I will see you guys all early tomorrow. I'll probably start at 4 p.m. Pacific with coverage. It'll be scheduled on here. If you haven't voted on the polls yet, go to the MMA with Friends YouTube homepage. Click the community tab. You're going to see polls up for this fight, for the Zhang and Joanna fight, for every main fight card except for Max Griffin and Alex Oliveira. Actually are on there. So until tomorrow, guys, as always, I love you, I respect you, and I'll see your fine asses later.